our last episode, we left off with a sleeping timberdoodle, also known as a bogsucker, also known as a woodcock. And since this is a relaxed little show, we're going to let him sleep for a while. Okay, timberdoodle, the show must go on. Whoops, timberdoodle, not on the internet. What's going on in that weirdly shaped head? I think he probably sees us here filming him, and it looks like he's trying to figure us out. Well, whatever he's decided, we don't seem to be worrisome to him. Back to worm grubbing, Mr. Timberdoodle. Hope we see you in another episode. And back to the big snowstorm for us. I have to admit, I was tempted to believe that global warming had been canceled during all of this. Yay! Long hot showers with no guilt, using the clothes dryer all I want, jumping in the SUV for a cross-country trip. But this show has some responsibility to take harder looks at things, so here we go. Okay, you can see in this really cool image that NASA did from one of its satellites that there was a lot of snow here in the mid-Atlantic, where it's usually pretty moderate. But look just to the north of us. Not much snow at all there. And now we're going to zoom up and across the continent to take a look at poor Vancouver, British Columbia, where they're trying to have the Olympics. They've had to truck snow up to Cypress Mountain and make moguls out of hay bales for their snowboard competition. This weird situation calls for a visual aid, and lucky for us, NASA has provided one. This compares our current winter to winters of the last decade. Blue is where it's been colder than average this year, and red is where it's been hotter. Unusually low pressure here let cold wind from the Arctic come whooshing down. But meanwhile, the ice in Greenland is melting fast, and polar bears are drowning in the Arctic. So dang it, even if it feels like it, global warming has not been canceled. Now we're back to our yard where we're all trying to deal with the results of the Arctic oscillation. Having all these hungry birds desperate for my seeds does give me a great chance to see some really beautiful feathers up close. Look at this blue jay. And there's a tufted titmouse. And I get some really close looks at mourning doves. They're fairly common birds around here, but look at that soft, pretty color. All right, now we've got some science to discuss. Before I started looking at birds hard, I used to think because they had wings, they could just fly somewhere where it was warmer and where there was more food when something like this happened. And then I started looking at them a little bit, studying them, and I realized they don't do that. And I wondered, why don't they? Why don't they just leave? They've got wings, why not go down to Florida? Well, scientists have studied this, and they have a word for it, and it's called site, now let me say this right, site phylepatry. Site phylepatry. Okay, I think I got that right. And site phylepatry means that the bird thinks of this place as home, and it can't just go fly farther south. For one thing, it has never been there before. It won't know where it is, it won't know where to land and find food. And for another thing, which is probably the main reason it doesn't work to just fly farther south, is there's already birds there. And even though they're cute little fuzzy guys, these sparrows are highly territorial. And you'll see them having fights in here under the bushes, just over little areas where I've thrown seed. So life is competitive no matter what species you are. Another thing to think about is that we have two kinds of birds here right now. There's the year-round residents, like the northern cardinals, but we also have a lot of birds, like this junco, that have traveled from way up in the north to be here for the winter because it's usually mild and they can find food. A whole little flock of white-throated sparrows comes to town every winter. They could have come from as far away as the Yukon Territory, and I like to think that some of mine have. So that's why I especially want to see them through till the snow melts. It's been really fun helping this flock of little birds get through the big snowstorm. I've been able to get to know another species really pretty intimately. I even know some of the individual birds in the flock, like who's the first one down to the seeds. And I think maybe the biggest satisfaction is that I know I've helped to keep a little singing in the world.